So the MGW saga continues. Forest closing in potentially on Jacob Ramsey. And Richard Rios can't get to an agreement with Roma. Welcome to Grumpy Old Reds. Evening, everybody. Hope you're doing well. And welcome to Grumpy Old Reds, where you may not need an aspirin after the episode ends because ants. We got rid of him. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I hope you guys are doing well. As always, get those likes up. Make sure you subscribe. And make sure you're jumping into the Discord, man. Loads of you are in there now. Conversations going on 24/7. If you can't get enough Forest chat, go chat with the other Reds in there. And yeah, let's get going, man. What are you boys saying?
Oh, good. I think we all know where it's going to start today. So who wants to make it? Because it's all about the MGW saga at the moment, isn't it? That's a talk of the town, and literally. And there's a lot of opinions on this. But there's some different opinions, and not many that are backing him, except maybe one person on our panel today. So I don't know, Crypto, do you want to say anything before we let Rob take over?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine. I'm knackered, busy at work. So I'm tired. But apart from that, I mean, MGW to me, there's only one thing to say, and that is, if he wants to leave the club, let him leave the club. I don't see the point of keeping players who don't want to be here. So regardless of the release clause and how Spurs have approached us and whatever it may be, if a player doesn't want to be here, he's never bigger than the club. So let him go. I'd let him go. And Rob's pulling a strange face. But
well, I would just say Wolfie's covered pretty much every single base on this in terms of like, should we keep him? Should he go? Should we offer him a new deal? And I think the fans have heard what Wolfie's opinion is on it. Go on, and Rob, are you going to defend this guy or what?
Yeah, I got nothing more to say on Gibbs-White, so go on, Rob.
Be here. I don't know how Rob can say. Go on, Rob. Go on.
Well, not defending him so much, but as we've seen, if anyone that follows him on Instagram knows that his girlfriend requires a constant supply of new handbags. And that means, I mean, every time I look, he's sort of shopping in London with or without crutches. So I don't know whether he's had some pressure. I also know that, now he can't drive. The commute in from East Bridgeford's probably quite inconvenient for him. So he's looking, obviously can go to Tottenham on the tube. So that's probably factored into his decisions.
Actually, you can't get to Tottenham on the tube.
You can go to
Not
Wood
the
Green.
ground.
Anyway, look, the point is,
well, you don't want to go. You don't want to go to Wood Green, though, do you? You probably get shanked.
Someone should tell him then before he moves. So,
Rob would get shanked.
Seriously though, I think that firstly, if I'd said to you 2 weeks ago before this started, if I'd said to any of you, do you want Morgan Gibbs-White to leave or to stay? You'd probably say stay, right?
Leave.
Yeah, all right. Well, fair enough.
But you can't say that, Rob, because when he was linked to Man City, we were saying, go.
Whoa. Right, this is a bit of hindsight here. You're now sort of retrospective. I always wanted him to go. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Right, first look.
Go back and look at the videos, man.
You always want these hindsight arguments.
Is this my go or yours?
I know, but
we're just covering for Ant, bro. We're covering for Ant.
Just because you've got a MAGA hat, it doesn't mean that you're Trump, all right? Now, right, so look, we have built the team around him, and we are now, unfortunately, seeing how difficult it is to sign top quality players. So if he goes, him and Ilanga going really puts us in the shit, right? And I think that the owner knows that, and he's fighting tooth and nail to keep him. And I do think, therefore, that there is a serious chance that he stays, right? Now, do you want a situation where he's coming out on the first game of the season and you're booing a player who you're hoping is going to get a goal or assist in that game, right? I don't think it helps to turn in on ourselves. I think if he leaves, I will call him a snake like the rest of you, right? But also, I will say another thing about we don't know, just like we don't know what was in that letter that Marinakis sent to UEFA, right, or to the FA. We don't know what's been happening with Morgan Gibbs-White's contract negotiations, right?
Yeah, we do.
Yes, we do.
No, you know that.
Have you watched today's video, Rob?
I've watched all the videos, but all I
Today's
would
one.
say is, a long, long time ago in my own career, I was offered a job where I was offered a decent pay rise. And my boss said to me, look, why are you going? Is it just for the money? And I said, well, that's a large part of it. And he said, right, okay, I'll pay you the same. Do you want to go now? And I was like, well, not really. Actually, I quite like it here. But the fact is that nobody in life...
What the fuck has that got to do with this situation?
Right, because why should anybody sell themselves short? If someone's offering to double his salary, why should anybody sell himself short? Now, if he's now got
he
that,
doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to be here, even if he
Who says that?
Who
says that? All I'm saying is, right. First, I will sum it up. The guy's a human being. He's got a family. He's presumably got some pressure from his partner, who would probably prefer to live in London, right? He's probably not paid as much as his market value. Now, I mean, I would agree with you. Like, if you paid 80 grand a week and somebody offers you 150 grand, what are you going to do with the other 70 grand? I honestly don't know what I would spend it on. I mean, tax probably. But the point is, it does. These are mind-boggling numbers from us, and it ends up just sounding greedy. But I would say, in principle, why should anybody be required to sell themselves short of what they could potentially earn? Now, I'm not going to make any snap judgment about who is to blame for him not signing a new contract, whether he was offered, as Wolfie says, 10p more in order to get the clause out of his contract, or whether he was given a serious offer and he's been stringing the club along. But I would finish by saying this. There is a serious chance that he starts the first game of the season as a Forest player. I don't want to see him booed. I want him to deliver for us on the pitch, because I'm very worried that if with him and Ilanga gone, without adequate replacements, we're going to be in a relegation battle again. It wasn't that long ago.
My God, you
right?
said that word. Okay, Crypto.
But just think about the consequences of slinging all this abuse at him.
Hang on a second.
How can he?
Some of the points you've made are good, but you're missing one vital point. There's been multiple news outlets, Sky, Ben Jacobs, etc., have said that he has been offered a contract multiple times in the last 12 months, even offering to double his salary, and he still doesn't want to take it. That says one thing. It says he doesn't want to be a Nottingham Forest.
Why is that in the public domain? Is that verified? Why is that in the public domain?
I mean, it's reported by several of the biggest media outlets, so it's probably true. It's probably true.
Rob, there's no smoke without fire.
Of course, if you double someone's salary, maybe they're going to leave. But what they're saying is that he's been offered that at Forest to make him the highest paid player, and he still wants to leave.
Okay, so answer my point. If you're at the Brentford game and he's coming out wearing the number 10 shirt, you're going to boo him, or are you going to get behind him?
No, I'm not going to boo him. I never said I was going to boo him. I didn't say I was going to boo him. I'm saying I don't think
see how his position is.
That's a disingenuous argument.
He doesn't want to be here, Rob. He doesn't want to be here.
Well, he definitely won't if everybody's calling him a snake.
Because he doesn't want to be here.
We are not in a strong position here. We have built the team around him.
Why would you want your on-pitch captain to not want to be in the club?
Your hero Cooper tried to do that.
Milenkovic should be the captain. I'm not suggesting he should be captain.
Milenkovic should be the captain. That's bollocks. MGW is a captain on the field. Why do you want your captain who represents your football club, who leads your players out? He doesn't even want to be at the club. Come on, man.
Honestly, I don't mean to. I genuinely don't mean to patronise you here, but I was a season ticket holder when Pierre Van Hooijdonk went on strike. Right, I do not want a repeat of that situation. We got fucking relegated that year.
Rob, did you boo him?
No, I couldn't boo him. He wasn't even there.
No, when he came back, did you boo him?
When he came back.
No, because by that time it was too late.
Rob, if it was up to you,
we celebrate when he scored.
Players who don't even want to be at the club.
I don't even remember him scoring after he came back. He was
Derby. It's against Derby, I'm pretty sure.
A team of players who don't literally want to be at the club. It makes no sense.
Right.
What
Has
have
he
you
said that he does or doesn't want to be at the club? Has he made any
He's
statement?
not going to come out and say it, Rob. He's
One-
never going to come out and say it right now. He's never going to come out and say it right now. So it's down to his actions, and his actions and what's led to this indicates everything towards that he does not want to be here. He didn't even want to have contract negotiations throughout the season, and then they've offered him from the recent report. The offer was made recently to double his wages. And that was made, like, obviously since
No,
this,
not recently, Ez. Not this is the discussions over the last 12 months they've been offering.
Okay, but he refused to sit down with them around Christmas time, wasn't it? Around the January transfer window time. That's when they spoke to him. That's when they wanted to nail this transfer down. And his indications were, okay, I'll leave it till the end of the season. Now, obviously, it came to the end of the season and it's not happened. But it all goes back to this leak of the transfer release clause. And there's no smoke without fire, Rob. And if it didn't come from him, it came from his agent. Either way, that was put in place when we went the back and forth to get him to sign to Nottingham Forest, obviously included this clause, which Forest wouldn't have put in. He put it in, and his agents forced it in. So that what it all boils down to. That's a start of all this ignition that's lit this fire under Forest fans. But there's not a single Forest fan, or not a majority certainly of Forest fans that I've said would take him back. I don't think it's in the thought of most of us that he would be starting the season. So we need to be planning without him. The rumours are that he wants a decision made before we go on this Portugal trip, and I think that makes 100% sense, because I don't want him part of that. I don't want him training with the first team, if I'm honest, because Nuno's obviously going to be talking about plans and tactics and formations and stuff for the upcoming season, and I don't want him knowing any of this. So for me, as harsh as it might sound, I wouldn't have him anywhere near the first team in the first place anyway, until he decides to make a decision. Now, it could be a standoff, but that player cannot be back in the fold. But I don't see how his position is tenable now, but he can be back into the fold and be part of a squad as if nothing happened. Like, just
Exactly.
It doesn't work for me.
I agree 100%. He's effectively blindsided the club by trying to get Spurs to buy him at his release clause cost, whether that's him or his agent. And the club don't know anything about it.
Which you can't say the agent, Rob. You don't know.
Which we know is unacceptable. Look, this is the point. The players are not Forest fans. We've said before, maybe Yates's, etc. I don't blame the player for wanting to go. If Morgan Gibbs-White wants to go, he can go. If he wants to go and earn more money, if he wants to go and live in London, whatever, that's completely up to him. That's fine. But just go about it the right way and basically put a transfer request in. Don't try and blindside the club knowing that your release clause is undervaluing you and that Forest are going to effectively lose out on money because they could have sold you for maybe 70 or 80 mil.
I don't disagree with that.
Why doesn't he put a transfer request in if he's so adamant on going?
I don't disagree with that. And also, he knows how valuable he is to the team, and he's quite happy to leave a mess behind him. So I do hold that against him. He knows that we won't be able to replace him in the available time.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
All right. Who with?
All right. Well, was everyone going on about how are we going to replace Jono when Jono left?
By the way, I'll do a swap deal for him.
No, thanks.
No. What? Straight? No.
Well, why is that not factored into it? Why is that not factored into negotiations?
Why is that not factored
because Nuno don't want him?
Rob, why do you want people at the club who don't want to be at the club? I think
Johnson would want to be at the club. I'd actually.
Why did he leave?
So how do you know that? What are your sources, bro? That's what you're questioning us on. You know, what are your sources to say that Jono would want to come back?
Johnson went to our academy. So
that's not a good enough reason. That's not a good enough reason.
He left.
It's like what Ant said last week. If Real Madrid came in for with a bid for Yatesy, do you think he'd still be loyal to us? He'd go.
We should probably close this topic, but I'm just going to say.
Yeah, but let me just say one last thing on it.
I'm well aware that 99% of the chat don't fucking agree with me. But all I'm saying is, with all of this, when you say he's a snake, I want him fucking gone. When you're saying that, you are A, talking down his transfer value, right? And you're B, fucking with his head so that if he comes out on the first game of the season, he's going to be crap, right?
Rob, why is he being called a snake?
Neither of those helps the club. So I'm saying that this narrative is not a good thing. Just let the
Hold on, Rob. Hold on.
Play it forth.
Yeah,
Firstly, if anyone wants to call him a snake, they have the right to,
Free
right?
speech.
But let me ask you, why are they calling him a snake? Not my narrative. My narrative is going to Spurs. But what's the narrative on calling him a snake?
Because he's engineered a deal.
No. That's not why. Because he came out with those PR videos saying, we've only just begun. This is the only place I want to be, while at the same time rejecting contracts that were doubling his wages, man. That's why he's being called a snake.
Yeah.
And obviously for me,
what was that to celebrate, guys? What was that to celebrate? I can't remember. It was something.
100 games.
Yeah. How many games you play? That's it, right? So yeah, and that wasn't that long ago.
He said something along the lines of, "There's no other club I'd rather be at." And now we know that for the last 12 months, he's been declining contracts left, right, and centre. So clearly, he would rather be at another club. And that was released, I think, in Feb of this year. So it's disingenuous, effectively. Like I said, if you don't want to be here, that's fine, but don't lie through your teeth about it.
Yeah, but let's not forget, he's got a track record, bro. Look what the Wolves fans were saying about him.
Exactly.
And
the
Sheffield United that you were referring to earlier, Rob. You know, if that's the angle we're going down, we're going to blame his missus for him wanting to leave. That's pretty much what
you can't
the Wolves
blame
fans
his
did.
missus, man. Like,
no, that's what I'm saying. This is pretty much what the Wolves fans did, didn't they? You know, we know what the
I know they
chants are
attacked
about.
her. They were wrong in what they were saying.
Of course they were. But we're not saying we're going down that road. But let me say last point on this matter, because what it has proven, and it's left a very bitter taste in the fans' mouths, because we have backed him. We've 100% backed him over the last 3 seasons, and he's come out and done this. And what it reminds me of, and what we all should remind ourselves of, is forget this loyalty bullshit. Loyalty is reserved strictly for the fans, nobody else. Not the owner, not the manager, not any player. Fans are the only ones who are loyal to a football club. So let's stop thinking that a player cares about us when he kiss a badge, and let's not get wrapped up in this again. But I think the fans have been stung by this one, and they'll feel really bad. And I think he has to go. He has to go, but it will leave a very sour taste in most people's mouths after that.
Let me ask you boys this, right? If this was who's the fringe player? Jota Silva. Well, who's been here for a while? Taiwo. Let's say Taiwo, right? Part of the team that kept us up in the first league, and he did this. You think the outrage would be the same?
No.
Why?
Because we're not so dependent on him.
Because everybody sees MGW as one of our best players. We're just getting over the fact we've lost Elanga, who is one of our other best players. MGW on the pitch is our captain when Yates is on the bench. You know, and like you say, the PR. Like, if you don't look, I don't.
Kevin, shut up! You're really boring. Stop spamming the comments. Grow up, you idiot.
Yeah, if you spam him, just somebody ban him.
Before I got rudely interrupted, I was going to say that. Look, I don't remember what I was going to say. I've had enough of talking about Morgan Gibbs-White.
All right, let's move on from Gibbs-White then.
Yeah,
he doesn't want to be
the only loyalty I've seen in my whole nearly 50 years of supporting Forest was when Stuart Pearce came down to the first division with us, right?
But that's because he had reassurances.
Exactly. Yeah, that was only temporary, mate. Because the next time
that's why he's a legend. That's why he's a legend.
Well, even without he's a legend.
It was the England
captain.
I think
Rob, he would have gone. Sorry, but he would have gone. He would have gone if he wasn't given that assurance.
Yeah. And he said that to us, didn't he? When we did that live with. Exactly. It was like, hey, England was the key. So, and if that was the case, that was the case.
There is no loyalty. I repeat, there is no loyalty from players, owners, managers. It's just the fans. So let's just keep it to ourselves and not worry about the players going forward. Yeah, let's clap them and cheer them when they do well, but let's not fall in love with too many players, because they look like most. Yeah, I'm actually not going to use that analogy, but you're going to be let down at some point. Don't worry about it. Don't get too involved with it.
All right, I'm done with Gibbs-White. At the club and in this conversation. Shout out to Poison Soup with the 9 months. Big up to you, bro. Alex with the 14 months, a year and 2. Appreciate it, bro. And Chris with the £2. 40 million and Maddison will do me. I don't really think Maddison is all that. I don't know. I'm just like, He took Leicester down, didn't he? So shout out to you, Chris. Thank you for that. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe already. Over 600 of you in here. Also make sure you're joining the Discord server. I can see loads of you joining right now. Martin's joined, Steve's joined, Kiwi Red is joined, Jed Pod is joined. Say hi to the rest of the people in the general chat. There's also the FIFA Pro Clubs, the Forest FIFA Pro Clubs. If you want involved in that, there's nearly a full team sheet. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. I think they got 8. So there's a couple of slots left.
Are you in that, Ben? Ben, are you in that EA FC team?
What? Me playing FIFA, mate? I don't have the time to play games anymore. I'm working 24/7.
Yeah.
But FIFA can don't play FIFA. What are you going on about, bro?
So okay, let's move on and talk about Jacob Ramsey. Right. So a couple of days ago, it came out. I think it was in the Guardian, to say that Forest have made him their like 9th number one target of the transfer window so far. And now I got reports to tell me today that he was in Nottingham, apparently some stuff to do with the house and what have you. But this could be one that Forest can get done with Villa until obviously Ramsey rejects us. But in terms of the player, boys, in the chat, what are you saying to him? They're touting him as a Morgan Gibbs-White replacement, potentially.
No,
that's the narrative being pushed. There's also reports that Forest are hijacking Spurs over this deal. Anyway, so I don't know. It's like, what's your take on him? What's your take on him?
I really like him. I think you gave a pretty good rundown of him earlier, to be honest, in your show. But for me, he fits ticks a lot of the boxes for the type of player that I'm looking for. A lot of pros, you know, he's fast, he's young, he's agile, he can take a shot, he's got great skill, and he's come through the academy there, I believe. The only blot on him really was his injury, but I believe from when he came back from that injury, I don't think he's had a relapse, and I think he was just struggling to get back in because the players that they'd brought in around him, and obviously he's challenging with what's his name in that position? Morgan Rogers. Yeah. So, and I think if it wasn't for Morgan Rogers' form, Ramsey would have got more minutes towards the end of the season. But I think he's a really quality player. I think he'd do really well. I don't see him as a straight MGW replacement, but it's something I want to actually a bit of pushback on what Rob said earlier. Just as the season ended, there were obviously the rumours about the Man City move. As it turns out, it was all paper talk. But when that came out, I was quite happy to see. Not happy, okay. I was resigned to seeing MGW leaving because I felt it would give us a chance to break away from that formation that like Rob said, we have built a team around him, mostly because of way Cooper set us up. But Nuno kind of did play that as well. But at times he tried to break away from it because we saw MGW play a lot more minutes in more of a number 8 position last season, and he was dropping deeper and he was progressing through the midfield in a different way than we'd seen in previous seasons. So I think actually losing MGW and losing that number 10 that we seem to think we have to build a team around would actually suit us. I want to see a change in formation, and I want to bring in players that will give us more options, and I think Ramsey is that kind of player. I know, Wolf, you said you think he's better out on the left. I actually think he's better through the middle. I think as a number 8.
I'm saying he's played pretty much on the left for the last 2 years for Villa.
Yeah, but I think
the emergence of Rodgers and everything.
Yeah, and like I say, before Rodgers emerged, I think he was actually playing through the middle as a number 8, and that's where he's getting his goals anyway. But yeah, a player that I'm definitely would like on my radar, and it's quite promising news that we've heard. So let's just hope something comes out of this. But I said this time last week, if we haven't got definite players in or I don't want links, I want players in, I'd be upset. I am upset. It's not moving fast enough. If we're going away on our preseason tour on Monday, isn't it? We're flying away. What's the squad that Nuno's taking with him? You know, what's he got to work with? That's who I feel sorry for, Nuno. You know, the players will be able to get on with it, but Nuno's the one I feel sorry for because he's done so much to get us where he got us to last season, and now it feels like he said he's been blindsided with this new MGW deal, and it's kind of thrown everything up in the air a little bit. We need to see players through, and Ramsey's one I definitely have on my list.
Well, if he can cover the left side and the number 10, that's obviously two places where we need strengthening, because now
Absolutely.
Sousa's gone back to South America. We've got zero backup for Callum Hudson-Odoi on the left, and he is injury prone, or he certainly was in the second half of last season. I think the thing is with Ramsey, I just agree with what everybody else has said. I think he lost his position to Morgan Rogers, but he's of the right age and he's of the right profile. He's homegrown. And, you know, I think this is unfortunate. This is the situation. This is the pond that we're fishing in now, because, you know, we're now looking for Aston Villa rejects rather than, you know, and if we'd made the Champions League, we would have been buying Morgan Rogers, but instead we're buying Jacob Ramsey. But, you know, this is unfortunately the fine margins of that 2-2 draw with Leicester cost us. And we've got I think it's a realistic target. I think it'd probably be a good move for him and a good move for the club. I mean, the glaring area we need to strengthen now is the right-hand side with Alanga going, where we've basically got Jota, Silva, and that's it. And but it doesn't mean that it wouldn't be a good signing to get Ramsey in. My question would be, what is the plan for Danilo now? Because I've heard he's going back to South America, but surely that all changes if there's no Gibbs-White, because didn't we say, you know, Danilo's been tried out in all sorts of positions. It wasn't working out for him. And I think we all agreed that actually his best position was Gibbs-White's position, and that's why he wasn't getting in the team. So do we need to actually reconsider what we're doing with Danilo now?
I think Gibbs-White's position was his best position. It was. I think he played his best when he played just behind Gibbs-White.
Just behind the 10, yeah. It was like a false 8, if that makes any sense. He was in between basically an 8 and a false 9, yeah. But no, I don't think so, because if you are going to persist with that formation, which I don't want us to do so, the ready-made replacement has got to be Elliot Anderson, surely. He's miles ahead of Danilo right now. He's miles ahead of him. Sorry.
I think it's a bit unfair to call Ramsey a reject. I think he was second to Morgan Rogers, who is obviously a fantastic player, but he's also a decent player himself. And he does primarily sit on that left midfield. So if we change to a 4-3-3, he would fit in perfectly. You could drop Anderson into the middle. And then, you know, you'd have to find out potentially where Sangare was playing if he was on the form like he was at the end of last season. But at the end of the day, yeah, we need more players. We seem to be selling a lot, but not bringing enough in. I mean, I would argue, well, maybe we'll talk about it, but people like Taiwo for me have still got to go. People who I don't think offer anything to the team at the level we want to play at need to basically move on, and we need to get some replacements in ASAP.
But do we care about the players going out right now? What do you think the priority is?
Well, the priority is
bringing players in right now.
Yeah, we need 100%. We need players in. We're going to be in 4 competitions next year, and Europa, which is going to be a tough competition. And we've sold 2 of our best players potentially in the last week or so. They said that they wanted to sign about 6 players before we sold anyone. And now what we've done, sold 4. Toffolo's gone, Sosa's gone, MGW potentially has gone, Alanga's gone. So you could argue that, you know, with Cunha and Jesus who have come in, that leaves a potential 8 players if you look at their original number that we still want to sign.
But so many names still being banded around that haven't gone anywhere. I saw recently, just before we came on live, that there's Grealish and Harvey Elliott now being linked with West Ham. Sorry, which European competition are West Ham in next season? Remind me.
Why are we West Ham, bro? Come on, bro.
So why are they being linked with players that we're not being linked with?
Derby, bro. Like seriously, West Ham.
Well, we need to see some
2 serious ones are Harvey Elliott and what's his face? Ramsey and McAtee. Sorry, the 3 serious. McAtee, Harvey Elliott, and Ramsey. They're the ones Forest really want.
I'd take all of them. I think they're all good players.
Yeah. What would you do with them? So what would you do with them? So you got them, you'd have Elliott Anderson. Let's just say, for argument's sake, Gibbs-White goes. Like Harvey Elliott can play as the 10. I think he's really good, by the way.
He can also play on the left. I really like him. We don't know the formation, do we? Because if he's stuck with the kind of 4-2-3-1, Elliott would be Cho's backup. McAtee would be Alanga's backup, or probably first.
Wait, you think Elliott would be Hudson-Odoi's backup on the left?
Yeah.
No way,
No,
man.
no. I don't see him. I've never seen him play on the left.
He's more a 10. He's
Yeah, he
like a
does.
10-8 for me.
I've seen him play in the 10 or down the right, because especially against us, he's played down the right and they've pushed Salah in, which hasn't worked for them. But I've not seen him play on the left, to be honest. So I wouldn't be looking at that.
Definitely played on the left. He looks
I mean, I'm sure
decent.
he has played on the left, but like
But yeah, that's not
position.
that's not his position, is it? All those players, I say, they do work, and it does allow us. They are quite. I think all three of those players we've just named can play in any position across a three in midfield or slightly further up in a 4-3-3 formation. But I do want to get away from the number 10. I don't think that's suiting us. It just it restricts us, and certainly in some transitions, it totally restricts us. And I think we need to get rid of that formation. So MGW going would be an absolute blessing in that sense. It would, and I think Nuno wants more options as well. And I feel like he's had to try and keep his prima donna happy, because we know he is a prima donna, and a few things will probably come out after he's left. But these players are all linked, but we still not seen definite. The closest rumours or the most optimistic rumours are about Jacob Ramsey that we've seen recently.
Today,
but the others,
tomorrow.
yeah, but that was only today, so there's nothing really solid, and I just don't understand we're not moving quicker with our preseason tour coming up next week. I don't understand it.
I think that's a good point, because these players are going to have to learn to play together, and if they miss the preseason, then we're going to be going into it with, they don't know how to play with each other. If you look at some of the interviews last year, which we spoke about before, with Wood and Alanga saying how they kind of have this sixth sense, they know what's going on. Morgan Gibbs-White was good with Wood as well. We're not going to have that this season. Even if you bring in good players like Harvey Elliott and stuff, if you bring them in and they don't have a pre-season, they're not going to know the runs Wood makes. They're not going to know the runs that the wingers make. It needs to gel. Like, they need time to gel. And if he doesn't have a full pre-season, I think it's going to be a struggle, to be honest.
Rob, what are you saying?
Sorry, go on.
I think Sci-Fi's saying we have to play 3 at the back.
I wouldn't be against that, because Williams and Aina are both very effective going forwards, and I'm hoping that Jair Cunha is going to break into the team as a actual ball player. I've watched his games since we had an interest in him, and he's good in possession, and I think it could work. I mean, obviously, it doesn't, just because you got 3 at the back doesn't mean that we're going back to Cooper ball. But when you've got 2 fullbacks like we have, who are actually really good wing backs as well, I think that's a decent option. I think the problem that we've had for the last year was that Murillo and Milenkovic were so much better than the next best defender, who was Morato for most of the season, but then he really started to make a few gaffes, and I think he lost a lot of confidence in himself. But I'm really optimistic about Cunha, and I would be not at all surprised if we do line up with 3 at the back and set up in that way.
The only thing with Cunha is I don't think he's advanced as Murillo in terms of temperament, right? Because it's not discipline that I'm talking about. It is discipline, but of the line. I'm not talking like, you know what I mean? I'm talking like sometimes he will come out of the defensive line too aggressively, leave a hole. If he gets done, it leaves the space and what have you. But that comes with experience, yeah? And obviously the pace of the Premier League is a bit quicker. He's quite fast. I think he's quite fast for his size as well.
For his height, yeah.
Deceptively fast. For his height, yeah.
I agree.
I just, whereas with Murillo, when we got him, I was like, chuck him straight in. Like, I think it could be risky, not because I don't think he can do it. I'm talking about the balance. Where Milenkovic and Murillo, when we were fully on form in, the heart of the season, that was our rocks, man. It was like, yeah, as long as we score, we ain't conceding. So that's the thing. Yeah, you say discipline comes in the preseason. There's a different pressure on playing a preseason game to playing full-on league game. I think Jair Cunha is going to be an absolute baller, but I don't know if you disrupt that pairing. I know they did it with Morato throughout times of the season, but to then disrupt that pairing straight away, I don't know.
Is there any chance? What's his name? The one who came back from Olympiacos and he played. Yeah. Any chance that you think that he could be brought into the squad for next season? Because that would give us another option in that centre back position.
I think Morato still stays, bro. I haven't seen any links.
You know what,
away from
Morato? Yeah, I don't want to be Morato in a 3. I'm still fine with. Just in a 2, I can't trust him not to make a mistake. But then again, we go back to what we were just saying about Cunha and experience. But we can we be too harsh on him? It was his first season in the Premier League, and there were times towards the end of the season we relied on him a bit more than we probably should have. I wouldn't be too quick to throw him out with a bathwater, mate. I think he was fine in the 3, to be honest.
But he was better in the first half of the season for me than the second, where you would have expected if he was adapting, it'd be the other way around.
Yeah, but I think he was given more responsibility, wasn't he? When he's in the 2, and it was his mistakes were down to lack of concentration, and that can happen, but it's something you will learn from. So I don't think he's a dead duck by any stretch.
I mean, that can change, can't it? If you look at the season before, some of the players were making tons of mistakes, even people like Murillo, and that seemed to stop last season. So hopefully, people like Morato, etc., are gonna knock that one on the head. I think Morato still got the ability. The good thing about our squad is a lot of our players are young, so but that's where the preseason for me is massively important. Like Nuno is the coach. He's not just the manager. He's the coach. He's the one that improves these players. He makes them better. We've seen him do it with a couple of players that he took over from Cooper. So you never know. Like Morato might come through and shine. He's got all the skills and the kind of physical assets to
Ben, would you switch to back 3?
So what I would do is I play a back 3 against Man City, who just presses loads with the wing backs. But my standard formation against the majority of the league would probably be a 4-3-3. I think I don't mind a 5 back with 2 wing backs or whatever you want to call it, a 3-5-2. But I think it's a bit negative when you play 5 at the back against teams like lower in the league. So
I don't think it has to be a negative formation, though, Ben. I don't think it has to be a negative formation.
Well, you can utilize it in the right way.
Right. Yeah, so against teams where you might still get more of a possession, what you need is one of those 3 centre backs to be able to come out with a ball. We've definitely got one of those 3 centre backs who can come out with a ball in Murillo. In Murillo, absolutely. So that's how you need to utilize it when you're playing against a team that are going to kind of like sit back. But it doesn't have to be a negative formation, not at all. And we've certainly got ready-made wing backs in terms of Aina and Williams. My concern is, again, another position that we need backup for both of these guys. We saw how much of a difference it made to the way we played last season when we lost either of them, or we had to switch them around, or whether it was for injury or suspension. It cost us, and we haven't had backup. So it's not just we're looking at further afield. The 3 players we mentioned are all midfielders, attacking midfielders. But where is the rest of the squad? And Nuno needs to start being able to work with the rest of his squad. If we are going to talk about 3-4-3s or 4-3-3s or any sort of formation, the players need to be there, or certainly the core of those players need to be there. And like I say, I'll go back to it. Nuno's the one I feel sorry for in all this. The players will get on with it.
My only concern with 4-3-3 is that it's a massive change from last season, because let's be honest, the majority of our attacks started with Elanga. So losing Elanga, I think, is personally, I wouldn't have sold Elanga. I think, although he may not be the best player on the pitch, he makes a huge impact for the wider team. Now, you could argue that a better replacement and something we know more is having Aina run down the wing in that 5-back formation. But if you're going to go 4-3-3, you're literally changing the whole team dynamic, because we did not do that last season. We relied on counter-attack. We're a counter-attacking team. The reason why top teams struggled against us is because we were a counter-attacking team. Well, we've lost our best asset now in Elanga, who helped us do that. So I don't think it's as easy as saying just switch to 4-3-3.
Yeah, but Crypto, we clearly saw towards the end of the season, we were being called out, on that formation. Teams were setting up against us, and we couldn't break it. And the fact of the matter is, we didn't have an alternative, and Nuno didn't have the players to play that alternative. So what we're trying to do is look at ways we can.
Striker though, we were very reliant on Wood.
Yeah, but that again is down to the way we play. So I mean, Wood was made us one track because we had no other backup because obviously Taiwo wasn't available, and we've got literally no third striker at the moment. But that was down to the players that we had, and it's still down to it because Nuno can't do these formations we're talking about now without the right players coming in. So with a threadbare squad, which it feels like we've got at the moment, he is very much restricted, maybe just to a basic 4-4-2. But the fact of the matter is the players aren't there. The ideas are there, but the players aren't there. But I agree that we can play 3-4-3, 4-3-3, whatever formation we want. But we've got more fluidity without a number 10 in that system.
If I remember last season,
Rob, sorry, just for you. Let me just catch up to Super Chats, bring you in. Mark, with the 35 months, he goes, is this the home of the mentally challenged? There's a few of them. There's a few of them, bro. Big up for the 35 months. Graham becoming a new member. Shout out to you, Graham. And Chris with the £2. He goes, heard Vickery 4 or 5 times, and he's not having Jair. But he also says Igor Jesus is the next Drogba, and I don't see that play style in him. Tim Vickery is very good. We've had him on the channel before. Okay. Go on, Rob. Hit the likes. 600 in here. Join the Discord. Rob.
Yeah, I wasn't happy with the 2 times that we tried to play 4-4-2 last season, which, if I remember right, was the home game against Fulham, result 0-1, and the home game against Everton, result 0-1. And, you know, it would be Dominguez as our right-sided midfielder again, and he's not a right-sided anything. The only thing I would say is it raises the question is there any possible lineup where Jesus and Wood both start? How do you fit them? Because for me, I think they're both starters. But if you're only playing a single striker, they don't both start, do they? So is there a way?
You have to play a 5-3-2 with wing backs.
You could do. And if you are going to play 2 strikers, that's the what's I'm looking profile of striker that I'd be looking for.
Yeah, I mean, it'd have to become like a floating right wing, like Alanga did sometimes.
I don't think you can play them together.
Like a floating striker.
I
mean, I wouldn't personally.
I'll tell you why. Because both of them do similar patterns on the pitch. Like if you watch Igor, he drops into the midfield. He's very good at winning the ball and then laying it off, spinning off the defender, making the run back into the box. I also think that Wood does that to a certain extent. He drops in and then he really, instead of like Igor, if you watch him, most of the time he'll like to lay it off into the player behind him. Wood likes to get the ball out to the winger. So there's similarities in the type of style. You can't have both strikers dropping in. I don't think either of them is a natural goal hanger.
I've had Chris Wood keep doing his dropping in and have obviously
he's better at dropping in, bro. He's so physical when he drops in my opinion. But obviously,
he's also got some pace, you know. So we need to have a trigger for these attacks, you know. So I feel like they could switch it around. I think they could work well together. Like I say, with the profile of players that they are, I think that's most suitable. It certainly didn't work with Taiwo and Chris Wood up front together. But with Chris Wood and Jesus, and even Taiwo and Jesus could potentially work. I mean, the ball bounces off Taiwo all over the place. If we've got a nippy striker around him, that could work really, really well, you know. But it gives us a couple of options. Either way, this is what we're talking about right now, the options that Nuno could potentially have. But again, I go back, without the players right now going into pre-season tour, how's he supposed to make any of this work? The biggest strength of last season, and Ben just touched on it, was the fact that we had such a good pre-season, and most of our squad, I think Milenkovic joined pre-season, didn't he? Joined the tour, and most of the players were there for the tour. Yeah.
So I think Milenkovic, is he there? Yeah, he was, but he was suspended
I'm sure he joined during the.
He was definitely suspended for the first game against Bournemouth.
I mean, that pre-season must have been mega because they sorted out set pieces. They developed their own unique counter-attacking style. My worry is, and we said this last GOR, Morgan Gibbs-White, who is known as the playmaker, and Alanga, who is known as the counter-attacker, last season between them were involved in over 50% of our whole team goals. Now, I don't think we scored that many goals as a team. So for you to then lose 2 players who account for more than 50% of them is, I just think it's going to be very hard to replace. Like I say, our counter-attacking style has effectively gone with Elanga. That play through the middle has gone with Morgan Gibbs-White. So you need to bring in some marquee signings to basically become playmakers. Because we said last season, our defensive line is good. Our goalkeeper is good. Let's hope our strikers are good again this season. The biggest weakness is that middle of the pitch where we don't control possession. We lose the ball a ton.
Yeah.
And you could argue that's the most important part of the pitch. And we just sold in that piece of the pitch our 2 best players.
He fixes that, man. Rios, 100%. And by the way, there's reports to say that Roma can't come to an agreement with Palmeiras on it. So Forest, get on with it, man.
There's
just get him in.
Yeah, there's a few deals that I was going to throw this hypothetical in because obviously we're losing Elanga and potentially MGW, 2 of our top players. I would 100%, if it was possible, try and I don't see why it isn't, but try and replace those 2 with Mbeumo and Wissa. Why can't we hijack the Man U deal? Because it looks like they're not coming to an agreement.
Because he said he only wants to go to Man U, bro.
I know he said that, but they're not sealing the deal. If it's
they just put a new bid in today, 65 plus 5. We ain't gonna spend that.
Wouldn't you? I would on him. Look at the.
I would. I'm just saying they're not gonna.
That's an interesting bid though, because if Mbeumo is worth 65, then surely Morgan Gibbs-White is worth about 60 because Mbeumo is better than Morgan Gibbs-White.
Yeah, look at the GA from them 2 players, Mbeumo and Wissa. Take them 2 out of Brentford and look at the difference to make. Just to mirror what Ben said about losing Elanga and MGW. And why can't we replace quality with quality? You know, we've got to be. It's the wages. It will go back to the wages, you know. And like I've said last week, we need to break that wage structure. We need to convince 1 or 2 players that we're going to bring you in. We're going to break our wage structure. It will encourage the players who are dilly-dallying over signing a contract. And I'll go back to saying any player going into the final 2 years of their contract, if they're not going to sign an extension, we need to be looking to get rid. MGW falls under that bracket. So either way, I think I'm looking to get rid of him. But the fact of the matter is we need players. Commitment, forget about commitment. As long as they sign the contract and they're here for the time that we've asked them to, we've got to get the maximum out of these players. I don't see why we can't be looking in that market. There are players where deals, Rios again, but deals that we should be monitoring. We should definitely be monitoring and we should be putting firm bids. And I don't understand from where we've gone from last season where we were praising our recruitment team and getting the business done early, and we're dilly-dallying now. The frustration for most Forest fans is that we are seemingly in a position of power with Europa League this season, and we seem to be worse. We've definitely not. The squad's not any stronger than us the way we finished the season. So
are we weaker or stronger than full time at Chelsea?
100% weaker.
We're weaker.
100% weaker.
Yeah, weaker.
Definitely weaker. I put MGW and Elanga in our top 5 best players, and we've lost 2 of them.
Well, it was always going to go this way, right? When we missed out on Champions League, we were going to get picked apart by those that made it over the line. And I'm afraid to say that even though we're in the Europa now, and even though we were 7th and most of the season we were in 3rd, I think that when other people look at us, they probably place us in the same bracket as Brighton and Fulham and Palace and that level of team, not in the same bracket as Villa and Newcastle and the people that we were neck and neck with for most of last season. So unfortunately, we have to do it again, and we probably have to do it again 2 or 3 times before people start to look at us as a big club with some actual pull.
The thing is, even if we can't get like the players we want, we still need a ton of players to come in just because of the amount of football we've got to play. 4 competitions we'll be in. So even if we can't get these, marquee signings, we still need backup in different positions. We need rotation players. We need to better the quality of our bench. So we need signings basically, and preferably in the next 3 days before we go to Portugal.
I'll take that, Greg. I would take that.
I give them both, mate.
Listen, I put a poll up. I'll leave it open for a little bit longer. Nearly 200 of you have voted in that. Who do you want up front? Would Jesus or both? 47% of you are saying Jesus. Is that shiny new toy syndrome, or were you guys convinced by the interview that he is Neo, he is the one? 38% of you would go with 2 up front, and only 15% of you would go with Rodinho. Interesting. Who on the panel said they'd go both up front? Did one of you say that? In what formation are you doing there, Rob?
I don't know yet. That's why I was asking. I mean, my concern now is that wood supply has been very much cut off, right? Because if you look at the goals that he scored last season, there was about 1 or 2 that were crosses from Hudson-Odoi. All the rest was fed to him by Elanga and Gibbs-White. Now, I'm not saying that Chris Wood, his career is over because those 2 players have gone. You know, he's been around the block a bit and he knows what he's doing. But I think
are you concerned for him though, Rob?
The muscle memory is gone.
I'm concerned for him.
You know, I think what it was evident about Wood and Elanga is that Elanga didn't even need to look up to know where Wood would be. He knew that he would be making that run. And, you know, also Wood didn't need to even look to his right because he knew that if he got in the position, the ball was coming to his head. So how do you fix that? Because I didn't see that happening when Jota Silva was playing on the right, for example. So that's my concern over starting with Wood on his own.
I'm just saying, I actually think that's right. Who just said, Cunning said Rob would go for 5-4-2. That's pretty much.
He was joking. That's 11 players.
5-3-2 then, right? Pretty much saying that you can only do it with 2 up front in the Premier League like that. I don't think 4-4-2 works. So that's the thing, Rob. Are you prepared to go like a 3-5-2?
Yeah.
Because if you get rid of Gibbs-White, am I talking myself into this? Chat, what do you guys reckon? So say we do go Murillo, Milenkovic, and say Jair as the 3, and then obviously Einar, say Nico Williams, whatever, as the 5. You could have a midfield 3 of Anderson,
Sangare,
No, not Dominguez. We could have a Harvey Elliott or a McAtee in there, or a Ramsey in there. So there are options, and then you chuck the 2 up front. The question is, where are you getting your width from? You'd learn a lot of weight on the fullbacks. It's more likely Nuno's more favoured formation in the 3-back from historically is a 3-4-3. That's what he favours more. So I still don't think you go with the 2 up front. And I know Trevor's saying 4-4-1-1. But I mean, I asked because a lot of you were saying to me in the build-up in the last week, Igor Jesus can play on the wing. I've not seen it, and that's why I specifically asked him that question. And he said he's always been a 9, like he's a striker. So I don't think I think he could play this SS position or a 10, but he's saying he hasn't done it. I just think he plays more of a false 9 for me.
The thing is, I don't think Wood would work well in a 2 with Jesus because he's not fast enough.
But
he needs to be the link-up player. He needs to be the link-up player. You don't need 2 pacemakers.
He'd have to like hang offside, and we were offside a lot last season, and it was highly frustrating. I just don't think it's a good idea.
It's not a great idea, but I mean, it's none of these are good ideas without the players around it to happen. We're kind of trying to make ends meet with the players that we've got. But if we've got a few more options, I do like a solid 3 in midfield. You know, I think it just gives you so many more options. And when you've got,
I agree,
like Ramsey and McAtee or even Harvey Elliott who can come in and go wide, I think it gives you a few more options. We've got fantastic fullbacks, stroke wing backs, however you want to play them. But I think the key has to be that we do need wingers. We do need to replace Elanga, whatever formation we decide to play. We need somebody who can go forward down that wing and play to their strengths, which at times obviously Elanga didn't do. He was much better when he was going down the outside and whipping the ball in from there rather than trying to cut in. So I do need to see players in that formation that are going to give us some width. But that middle three is what I want to try and get right this season. Crypto, and we've all said throughout the season, it's where we lost so much of our possession, we lost so much control in games, and it's where we can, I think, make the most improvement. So if we can nail that down, everything that goes around it can be built on. That middle three is something that we suffered with, and we need more options. And I think if Sangare is going to be our number 6, because that Douglas Luiz one looks dead in the water, which is just so frustrating.
Apparently Everton have made a loan offer.
This is what I don't understand. I keep saying, why are these teams going in for these players, man? What are we doing? What are we doing?
What a sick film that is, but play the Flying V, man. Old school film. So I look, the thing is, I like the 4-3-3. If you look at a lot of these solid teams, like a Newcastle, for example, they'll play a 4-3-3. Arsenal technically play a 4-3-3. Someone say a 4-2-3-1. There's a lot of teams that do it, and it's quite fluid. But would our 3-B-2 workman is it going to need a Harvey Elliott in there, or an Anderson being a bit more creative, or a Crypto's loud dog in there? Who knows?
Yeah, but I think Anderson needs to be let off a leash. But Rob, go on, you jump in on that one.
Well, I was actually thinking the Christmas tree did work a few times last season, because I know, but I remember going on a bit of a rant because I was getting sick of all the games towards the end of last season where we were playing one winger. But now that's kind of enforced on us, isn't it? But I mean, if you think about the Liverpool away, was probably the best result of last season, and we had a sort of 4-5-1 Christmas tree. We also employed that away at Chelsea as well. So that's still, remember, we've still got some of these, if you like, Category A away games where that's probably how we'd want to line up anyway. But the problem with the 4-3-3 is who goes on the right-hand side. I just don't see it.
Yeah, now it's a problem.
I think.
Well, you could put Hudson-Odoi there.
No, I think okay, then who goes on the left? I think
Ramsey. If we get Ramsey, he can go on the left.
We've got to try and factor one or two of these players in, Rob. Otherwise, we've got no squad to.
Yeah, we can't do it with the squad we've got. You can't trust Jota to do it all season. I don't know. I get you guys are kind of depressing. I'm not going to lie. The squad does feel thinner than I thought it was. We've only technically lost one first team player in Elanga as things stand. So listen, guys, we've just hit the 200 mark on the likes. That's Eddie Nketiah style conversion rate, guys. Like, there's over 600 of you in here. All right, let's get a bit of an Igor Jesus conversion rate. Actually, it's probably not the best example. Let's get it up towards 250. So make sure you've hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed as well. Join the Discord. I can see a few of you are joining since I last checked. Shout out to K9 Kev, to Baby Any. I don't know how to pronounce that one. Puppy72. So shout out to you guys. Get chatting in there. Keep that conversation going after we go off air. I got a couple of super chats here. The main man Phil with the £2. He goes, "We'll be fine when Jesus is risen." Oh my god, there's gonna be so many Jesus jokes. I nearly cracked a few when I was interviewing him, I'm not gonna lie. Shout out to you, Phil. Phil again with the exact same message. Shout out to you. I don't know if you accidentally double pressed it, Phil, but it's gone through. Yeah, appreciate it, bro. And Phil again with the 31 months. Phil's busy on the old dollar sign button there. I wanna get this discussion going with you boys, and it's Patch Adams has got it here. Is Edu the snail the problem? Because he's come in for a lot of heat, man. I think there's a bit of like coincidental timing that Elanga went and then the whole Gibbs-White thing came in, because I'm pretty sure that he's been working in the background for at least 4 to 5 months. Yes, there's the whole gardening leave thing, but come on, this is like conversations will be happening. But is Edu a bit of an issue? I'm telling you, more Arsenal fans than not are telling me Edu was the issue. Go on, I got a call once.
Yeah, go on. I don't think he is. I think it'd be way too early to make that judgment. But I also agree with Wolfie that he's had some influence whilst he's been on garden leave. He hasn't just come in cold on this one. So, but to blame him for the transfers that have gone ahead, I don't think that's fair. He will be judged on what the incomings are, not so much the outgoings, in my opinion. And it's been a little bit slow on that. We're hoping that with our links with the Brazilian league and the players there, that he could influence that and make it a smoother transition from that point of view. But yeah, like I say, to make judgment on what's happened so far, certainly in terms of any outgoings, would be a bit harsh. He will be judged on what comes in over the next month or so. Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I have literally zero idea if Edu's decisions have been affecting anything. Like, we just don't know, do we? I mean, we can guess and say, yeah, he has, or no, he hasn't, but no one really knows. So, I mean, the thing I look back to is the Jan transfer window where we did absolutely nothing, and you can't blame Edu for that.
No.
And we said at the time, you could have got Wissa for a lot less than they want now. You could have secured that front lineup knowing that Chris Wood may, get injured, or he may go out of form, and they did absolutely nothing. So I don't know if Edu is to blame or not, but whether he is, I don't really care. I don't care who's to blame. Just get it sorted. Basically,
his role is not really meant to be directly operationally involved with Forest recruitment. He's splitting his time between Rio Ave, Olympiacos, and Forest, and it's a far more of a strategic role. So I don't see that he would be getting involved in identifying targets. That's all sort of Ross Wilson and what's the guy's name, Pedro Ferreira, the recruitment people that do that.
Ross Wilson. If I had to put blame on anyone, it would be Ross Wilson.
Really?
Ross Wilson.
Well, maybe he's getting ready for his move to Newcastle.
Maybe
right?
I was going to say he's been linked with
taking his
Newcastle.
eye off the ball. Has he taken his eye off the
I don't
ball?
think Ross Wilson's been bad.
Maybe Ross Wilson's agent has put a secret release clause in there, and he's about to go as well.
Yeah, I don't see Edu as being the problem, and I think it'd be harsh to judge it on anything that's happened.
Yeah,
so far.
we just don't know. To be honest, you can put the blame where you want. At the end of the day, whether you blame people or blame whoever, the fact is we don't have enough players incoming. And as very rightly so said, preseason starts in 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
In 5 days, it's already started, bro. What are you talking about?
But I think we will make a flurry.
Yeah, okay. Portugal. At least they're not going to Dubai. If they were going to Dubai, I'd just.
Oh, man, we're in trouble, man.
man.
Go back to Dubai, man.
So the thing we need to remember is that we will probably end up making a clutch of signings on transfer deadline day at about 11 p.m. Right?
Right. So we got to do a whole late stream again.
And the reason for that.
Will they be desperate though? Will they be desperate?
Yeah, we will, because the reason for that is we have to wait in line behind the teams. Firstly, you've got the teams that actually made it into the Champions League. Then you've got the teams that didn't make it into the Champions League, but they can still pay 3 or 4 times what we can in wages, right? So you've got to wait for them to do all their business, and we get the leftovers. And that is just the sad fact of it. So where we have succeeded so far is I think that we've gone and dug out a couple of gems from Botafogo that once other people started to watch the World Club Cup, they were thinking like, why weren't we tracking these guys? So we've done well there. We managed to get that business done early.
So answer that, Rob.
Sorry?
That. So what's the excuse for Bakayoko?
What, did he go to Leipzig in the end?
Went to fucking Red Bull, a drinks.
Yeah, okay.
team,
They've got loads of money. They've got
they
loads
ain't even got European football.
Yeah, so what did I just say? Clubs that had made it to the Champions League, or clubs that will pay 3 or 4 times us in wages.
They didn't pay 3 or 4 times the asking.
The Red Bull teams are an international franchise. There's Salzburg, there's several in that group, and they've got a lot of money. And they're unpopular in Germany because they've bought their way, they've bought success. They have got money to burn. So that's why he's gone there. He's probably on 2 or 3 times what our wage offer was, right?
I actually think he went for family reasons. I was just wondering.
All right, fine. But when you see Red Bull, you've got to be aware that that's their approach, right? They're disruptors, and they've got a lot of money to throw at it.
Rob, I'm sure half of what you say, you just make it up on the spot.
He's
Well-
got some logic behind it.
Well, why else would he have settled now? They must have made him a very satisfactory wage
Yeah,
demand.
it's going to be the money. It's going to be the wages on offer, isn't it? It's not going to be what they can offer as a club or certainly no European football. So it is obviously down to money, and this is where we need to start competing. It's the only way we're going to get the type of quality players that we were looking for. There's no other way.
So what's wrong with what I've just said, Crypto? That the Champions League clubs will make their move first, then the big money clubs will make their moves. Yeah,
It will be a domino
and then
effect.
we get the leftovers. What's wrong with the logic of what I've just said?
Because he moved for family reasons. I'm not talking about that bit. I'm talking about Bakayoko.
Anyway, someone who's looking like he's going is Danilo. Good thing Ant's not on. Like, the talk is still it's still within the text or umbrella, but like 21 mil for Danilo, I still think there's more in him than that. I really do. Like, you guys gonna be upset if he goes? We know Ant will.
And I don't think Ant would,
because we could have actually used him. If Gibbs-White isn't here on the first day of the season, we could have actually used him because it was Gibbs-White that was keeping him out of his probable best position.
No, I think it was Anderson that was keeping him out.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
Wasn't MGW.
Anderson would naturally fill in for MGW. Like Danilo would be like third choice. I'm just fed up of people wanting to have like second and third choice players on the pitch. We need to get the best people possible in that position. Can Danilo be good in the right position? Maybe. But is he the best we can get? No way. We can get better. Like, who do we want to be? Do we want to be
irreplaceable, is he?
Do we want to be a mid-table team, or do we want to push and have some ambition like the club keep telling us? You've got to get the best player you can afford. And there's definitely better players than Danilo out there.
Do you think there's an element of we're waiting for full final confirmation after CAS that we're in Europa to just like
probably, yeah, and waiting for confirmation on MGW, and I'm sure there's a number of things.
But we're the ones delaying the Gibbs-White one. Let's be real.
Yeah, but there'll be a number of things they have to consider because it sounds to me like they're trying to convince MGW to stay. So they're either going to convince them or they're not. If they're not, then again, that's another player gone.
No, I think we're just holding out for a few more quid off Levy. I think that's it. 65 million, but I think somebody's already mentioned. A lot of people have mentioned it in the chat actually. Going back to
the money's
65 million, take it.
The money's coming from the 120 or so million we will have made off MGW and Alanga. It's not like we got told as well that even before you sold them, we could spend about 100 million, and we've sold Sosa, and Toffolo's wages have gone. And Hennessy's wages have gone. I know they won't have a massive impact on the whole squad, but we have money to spend, don't we?
It's not like he's a coach now, mate.
Yeah, that's a really weird decision because he probably gets paid like 10 times less, but still has to travel with the team and do exactly the same job.
But back to the Danilo situation. Danilo would have to have a really amazing pre-season for me. I think can be part of the plans going forward. I've got no problem with him moving on for 21 million. I don't really think Ant would have an issue there is potential to get more out. There is potential to get more out of him, but I don't think we're in a position to be able to hang around to see that. But, last season he dropped off a lot.
Yeah,
not a little bit, and I think he pulled out of challenges. I think that injury really played on his mind. I think he wasn't the same player coming back from that injury.
All right, but if I ask you like this, who's a better player, Danilo or Yates?
Yeah, but then I don't want to give that analogy, but it is choosing between that or that.
The thing is though, that's where Danilo played in the wrong position. Because if you play Danilo in a 6, I would say Yates is a better player. He's more physical. He's better at defending. When Nuno plays Danilo in that 6 position, it doesn't work. He doesn't want to get involved in tackles. He's not physical enough. His passing is not great. Danilo is better as an attacker. Like, I would say Danilo is like an attacking 8 player. When you place him in the 6, and we saw it last season, it does not work. Yates is better as a 6.
Yeah, you can't tackle at the moment.
The answer to that question is that Danilo has a higher ceiling, but also a lower floor, right? Because if I remember back to his performance in the FA Cup semi-final where he got hooked, I've never seen Ryan Yates play as bad as that. So that this is the problem, that with Yates, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get some consistency, maybe not a match winner, but you're going to get some consistency. Whereas the problem with Danilo is that in the latter half of last season, he was a liability in some games. But doesn't mean that he couldn't turn it around with the preseason behind him. And I just think that with the squad looking so threadbare and nobody coming in at the moment, that if you ever had an opportunity, it might be now. I don't think that I've seen the number 10 million in the chat there. What are we getting for him?
About 21, isn't it?
More than that. It'll be more than 10.
It's in dollars, isn't it? It's like $26 million, so 20 mil. It's roughly 20
21
mil.
million.
If he's going to Botafogo, can we just clarify? Have we got now no chance of signing Cuyabano? Because as we were saying,
he's staying. I don't think both the reports coming out
Aston
from
Brighton, wasn't it?
And
Brighton,
saying he's staying.
Yeah. So it's player led. Same with this Danilo thing. It's got to be player led. If a player's got the passion to fight for his jersey and to try and make a name for himself in the Premier League with Forest, then yeah, absolutely give him that chance. But I don't think his heart's in it. And I say it wasn't the same player we saw last season, not from that first.
I think
first
you're a bit harsh.
What on Danilo? I don't think I am. I don't think I am. But I'll reiterate what I said. If he has an amazing preseason, then he puts himself in the picture. But it's got to be down to him. You know, we shouldn't be fighting his corner. He should be fighting his own corner.
True.
Nuno gave him plenty of chances. Nuno loves him, but he's not repaid that for Nuno, I feel.
We've potentially got 8 to 10 more games, 8 to 10 more fixtures this season, just as a baseline than what we had last season. So I just think, thinning out the squad, especially with all the players being in attacking positions, even if Gibbs-White stayed, there's an argument that Danilo would have got more opportunity with all the extra fixtures that we're playing. Yeah. And now with Gibbs-White going, does that really make sense to sell him as well before anybody comes in? So I don't know. I'm just saying that I'm a lot more in two minds about Danilo going than I was a month ago when he was going to Lyon for 20 million. I was thinking, right, okay, just cash in. But now we're potentially making 120 million on these two player transfers. Now we don't need the money. We don't need the money, but we do need players. So that's all I'm saying. The likelihood is that he never gets back to being the player he was before that horrific injury, which would be a great shame. But I'm saying with the extra fixtures and with the people leaving, he would have had the opportunities.
To be fair to Danilo, though, I think he can be that player, but in a different league. The Premier League is very physical and fast-paced.
True.
He could go to a different league and play a possession-based game, and I think he'd be a lot happier.
Yeah, absolutely. I would not disagree with that. Based on those Botafogo games I've seen since we all started watching Botafogo, I think that style of play would suit him more. He's a technical player, and it's a bit less physical, more possession-based.
Well, speaking of Botafogo, and by the way, guys, with 10 likes off 250, please do hit the like button if you haven't already. Let's talk about the whole Palace Forest thing, right? Because did any of you see the interview that Parish did with Lineker?
Yes, I saw bits of that. Yeah,
worst possible interviewer, worst possible interviewee. Honestly,
I mean, what the hell was that? Gary Lineker at one stage said, "Let's hope UEFA watches this."
Oh, really? I didn't see that at all.
Yeah. So let's just be clear. We should all hang our heads in shame because Forest have disgustingly stolen a Europa League place from Crystal Palace by adhering to financial regulations. How disgraceful. What terrible, terrible people we are. That's the narrative. And it's the most stupid, I won't use the bad word, it's the most stupid narrative I've ever heard around the club. So by being not cheats, we're the bad guys now.
Yeah.
We wrote a letter that no one's read, bro. Don't forget that bit.
Yeah, but the letter was just there to question what's going to happen because Forest need to know. Look, as much as people complain about it on Twitter and all the armchair Palace fans, at the end of the day, it's all doing money. And of course he's going to write a letter. Of course he's going to push for it. Because the difference to Marinakis in money, if we get Europa compared to Conference, I'm sure is several million. At the end of the day, Forest followed the rules. Now, what I don't understand how this kind of agenda against Forest has really happened, because they've broken the rules, but he somehow managed to convince the Palace fans that it's our fault, and they're all running with it, when actually we're the ones who followed the rules correctly. So we're well in our rights to write a letter. Even if the letter did say, you know, we should be there and not Palace, which it didn't. But even if it did, we're well in our rights to do that because we did everything to the book. And why should we be punished?
Absolutely.
You know,
what I can't get my head around is
if Palace were in our situation, they'd be saying the exact opposite of what they're saying now.
Of course they would. And, you know, and the honest Palace fans are blaming Parish and not blaming Marinakis for what their failings were. But what really gets me, and I'm still seeing it and hearing it, when I can be bothered to listen to that crap, is the amount of Forest fans simping over Palace fans and saying, get the hell out of here. Come on, man. Really get your heads out of your own asses, man. What no other club would give a damn about us, and why we should be feeling sympathy for them, I just don't get it. You know, we need to be looking out for ourselves, and I don't understand. It's the same happy clappers. It's the same people, mate. We just want to please everybody without actually making any difference whatsoever. You know, I'm not here to make up the numbers, and Marinakis isn't here to make up the numbers. We need to put ourselves amongst it, and I don't think he cares about how many enemies he makes. He's certainly got thick enough skin. You know, it won't be affecting him. And I'll back our owner, mate. I don't give a damn what Parish has to say or any other cheerleaders for Palace have to say, but the blame is totally on them. And if we benefit from it, it's because of their ignorance and their mistakes. It's not because of what we did. It's because of what they failed to do.
Yeah. Well, also, what owners of other clubs do we love? None at all. None at all. So the point is, if you're a club owner, you're not going to be loved, right? So you might as well be feared. And I think that Marinakis now, with both the Crystal Palace issue and the way he's handling Gibbs-White, is making it clear that he is not to be messed with. And good for him. Good for him standing up for our club. And, you know, it's not his job to be loved by supporters of other football teams. He has put a colossal amount of his own personal money into Nottingham Forest, right? So why shouldn't he fight tooth and nail in the courts if necessary, if someone's doing us a dirty, as Tottenham are doing, and as Palace were trying to do by getting around regulations which they clearly broken.
Just some breaking news for you. UEFA have put Palace back into the Europa League on their official website.
Are you joking?
So maybe the Palace fans were right and they didn't break the rules.
Are you joking?
Well, it's because it hasn't been.
Can we just delete that last section of what we just said?
Right,
let's make a formal apology to the Palace fans.
Yeah, I apologise.
You were wrong.
What is the date that it's going to go in front of the Court of Arbitration for Sport? But because until that appeal has been heard, then it's not formalised, is it? So there's definitely somebody trolling there, because remember they did that picture of the eagle on the
No, that was for a different team though, because they posted it again the other day and they put the official team. I don't know.
I am on the official site, Rick. I'm on the official site.
Listen, I think it would be inappropriate for them to go either way while there's still an appeal in process.
I mean, whatever happens, we love Rich, so let's just keep it straight with Rich. Forget the rest of them. D can do one, and the rest of the Palace fans.
I had fun with D today, man.
Did you? What happened on the stream, though? No, I'm joking.
What? I just asked him, what did it say in Marinakis' letter? That's all I asked. He couldn't tell me. Now, that is the official website, guys. That is the official website. Let me see. I'll see what they've done in the Europa League.
We knew we were live, innit? They wanted to troll us, just as we were talking about it.
In the Conference League, let's have a look here.
And they popped us back in there. We put Bromby in instead of us and really trolled us.
They've taken Forest completely out of Europe. No, I'm joking.
In the
Actually, saying
Champions
that, I
League.
can't find it.
Might as well.
Oh, no, they put Forest back in the Europa League one. In the conference, sorry.
What? Really?
Yeah, look. Forest.
Well, we'll raise a glass to Palace fans. Congratulations on the Europa League again.
But that's the official website. I can switch it.
Is that the Gary Lineker influence?
Who's that? Ryan Yates?
It did look like him.
Got some kind of Austrian Ryan Yates.
Interesting. What are you thinking to that? Any merits in it?
I'm speechless.
If we go in that Conference League, we'll probably lose the playoffs anyway. So at least we won't need as many players, so the transfer window won't be such a crap time.
Yeah, I mean, we could win. We could win the Conference League. We could win the Conference League with the squad we've got right now. To be honest, we don't need to buy any more players. So let's just focus on that and get ourselves into Europa League for next season, and not worry about the league and do what the rest of them did. But yeah, that's a real trolling situation just now. But we'll see. When is the final decision, man? When did you say 2 days for Cass to make a decision?
Yeah, everything will be within 10 days of last week or something. So basically, say a week. Cass usually take 2 days to get a decision.
It could all go.
Why would they have done that though? Why would they have done that?
Just troll us for
maybe someone said they shouldn't have put us there in the first place before the decision was reached.
Probably that, yes.
I mean, look, we've got a Man United fan in here who wished they finished where we did, but
You getting a signing? Or you signed in Buemo? I don't know. All right, anything else we need to cover off?
No, I think we need to eat some humble pie. But
we definitely need to apologise to the Palace fans.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm apologising to
no, I'm not simping. I'm not simping those Palace fans, man.
Well, it's time to simp. You got simp once in a while.
I know. I just want to hear all those ones who said they felt sorry for the Palace fans to now say that they're happy for the Palace fans and they're fine with if Forest lose out on it. So Palace have not been ejected from it yet. Technically, they have, Jobber. Technically, they have. So I don't know. I'll see how this one progresses, and as always, we'll keep you guys posted on it.
Keep your notifications on, guys. Definitely
have your notifications on. Get on the Discord. We'll discuss it further on Discord. If any, I'll be on Discord in a little bit. Once I've sorted a few things out. So, all right, we'll call it there. Make sure you've hit the like button. Make sure you've subscribed. I'm gonna kick you over to the boys on Never a Foul. Just go give them some abuse or something. We'll see you on the next video on You Reds.
You Reds.